Discovering your husband's affair through a shared Google Drive folder labeled Fusion Dream Team hits different when you're the one who taught him how to use cloud storage. Thursday, September 18th, 10:47 a.m. I'm sitting in my home office in our McMansion in Portland's West Hills, reviewing a client's portfolio, when Holden's laptop, which he conveniently left open on the kitchen counter, pings with a notification. Now, I'm not the snooping type. I'm Mira Vaughn, 38-year-old financial consultant, mother of one brilliant 9-year-old daughter named Ivy, and the kind of wife who genuinely believed working late meant actual work. Spoiler alert, I was adorably naive. The notification preview reads, Karina added new files to Fusion Dream Team, final budget. Karina. That name had been floating around our house for 6 months like a particularly persistent fruit fly. Karina from my MBA cohort. Karina thinks we should diversify. Karina has this amazing idea about fusion cuisine. I should have known when he started using words like synergy at the dinner table. Here's the thing about being a financial consultant. You develop a sixth sense for when numbers don't add up. And my husband's story? It had more holes than a strip mall after a going out of business sale. Holden Vaughn, 40 years old, marketing director at a mid-tier tech company. My husband of 12 years. Father to our daughter Ivy, who thankfully inherited my brain and not his talent for creative accounting. We met at a networking event in downtown Portland back in 2013. Got married within a year. Classic millennial romance, complete with a wedding at a converted barn and artisanal everything. For a decade, we were that couple. The ones who hosted elaborate Thanksgiving dinners, showed up to PTA meetings together, took annual trips to Cannon Beach. We had the house in the right neighborhood, the Subaru Outback in the driveway, and a golden retriever named Biscuit who's currently sleeping under my desk, blissfully unaware that his world is about to implode. But somewhere between our 10th anniversary and Ivy starting 4th grade, Holden discovered ambition. Or more accurately, Holden discovered Karina Landry. I click on the notification, and Google Drive opens like Pandora's box. The folder is a masterpiece of organizational betrayal. Market analysis, location scouting photos, menu mock-ups, and, my personal favorite, a subfolder titled Our Vision. Not the restaurant vision. Our. I scroll through documents with clinical detachment. Photos of a commercial space in Portland's trendy Division Street district. Financial projections that are embarrassingly optimistic. A mission statement using the word journey 17 times. And then, buried in a subfolder labeled personal, I find it. A photo of them. Holden and Karina, standing in front of their potential restaurant location, her hand on his chest, both looking at each other like they're in a cologne commercial. The timestamp reads July 4th, Independence Day. While Ivy and I were watching fireworks at Waterfront Park, eating overpriced corn dogs, Holden was declaring independence from his marriage vows. The affair itself? Not even the most creative part of this betrayal. It's the restaurant that really showcases Holden's special brand of audacity. They want to open a fusion restaurant, Korean-Italian, because apparently cultural appropriation and adultery pair well together, in one of Portland's hottest neighborhoods. The projected startup cost? $850,000. Their current funding? Maybe $200,000. Most of it probably from Karina's family money. The business plan reads like it was written by someone who watched too much Food Network and not enough Shark Tank. And here's where it gets really good. They need investors. Big ones. Anonymous ones if possible because, and I'm reading directly from their funding strategy, we want to maintain creative control and avoid too many cooks in the kitchen. Oh, the irony is so thick I could spread it on toast. I lean back in my Herman Miller chair and stare at the ceiling. Our bedroom is directly above my office. The bed where we've slept together for 12 years. Where we made Ivy. Where he probably texts Karina while I'm brushing my teeth. The rage doesn't come immediately. First, there's this weird detached curiosity. Like watching a true crime documentary about your own life. Then comes the mental inventory. Our joint accounts, our mortgage, Ivy's college fund that I've been meticulously managing. Holden thinks I'm boring. I know this because 2 months ago, I overheard him on the phone in the garage. Mira's great, but she's so practical. Everything's about returns on investment and risk assessment. When was the last time we did something spontaneous? Spontaneous. Like embezzling joint savings for a restaurant with your side piece? My phone buzzes. A text from my sister Hazel, 35, a corporate lawyer in Seattle. Lunch next week? I need to escape these depositions. Another text from Rowan, my best friend since college, 38, a real estate agent who knows Portland's market intimately. Found the perfect listing for that investment property you mentioned. Downtown space, restaurant ready. Call me. I look back at the Google Drive, at their naive financial projections, at Holden's handwritten notes. Maybe ask M for business advice? No, keep separate. Keep separate. Like compartmentalized lives. Like believing your wife is too busy with client calls and carpool schedules to notice you're building an entire alternate future. Here's what Holden doesn't know about his practical wife. I didn't become a successful financial consultant by playing it safe. I became successful by understanding exactly when to take calculated risks. And I didn't build my reputation without learning how to move assets in ways that are perfectly legal but creatively strategic. Phoenix Ventures. That's what I'll call it. A shell corporation, rising from the ashes of my marriage. Poetic, right? I start drafting an email to my business attorney, Felicity, a shark who once helped a client hide assets so thoroughly that her ex thought they owned a moderately successful Etsy shop when they actually owned 3 commercial properties. The plan crystallizes in my mind like ice forming on a windshield. Cold, clear, inevitable. I won't confront Holden. I won't scream or throw dishes or change the locks. That's what he expects. That's what would make his narrative easy. My wife went crazy, so I had to leave. No. Instead, I'll do what I do best. I'll assess the risk, calculate the returns, and make an investment. In his failure. Downstairs, the front door opens. Holden's home early, probably to grab the laptop he forgot. Babe, he calls out. You seen my laptop? Kitchen counter, I call back, my voice steady. Where you left it. He appears in my doorway, all 6'2" of him, wearing his favorite Nike jacket and guilt he doesn't know I can see. Thanks. Had to run back. Got a big meeting this afternoon. Another one? I give him my best concerned wife smile. You've been having so many meetings lately. This new project must be intense. Yeah. He grabs the laptop, not meeting my eyes. But it's exciting, you know? Something different. Something that could really be transformative. Transformative. That's what he said about our marriage on our wedding day. That's wonderful, honey. I'm so proud of you. The lies taste like artificial sweetener. Will you be home for dinner? Ivy has soccer practice until 6. Probably late. Don't wait up. He kisses the top of my head, a gesture so patronizing I have to suppress the urge to bite him, and leaves. Through my window, I watch him get into his Tesla and drive away, probably heading to meet Karina, to discuss their vision, to plan their future while I sit here in our shared home, surrounded by 12 years of accumulated life. But here's the plot twist they never saw coming. I'm not the woman who gets left behind. I'm the woman who bought the exit route before they even knew they needed one. I pull up a blank document and start typing. Project Phoenix, investment strategy. Target, fusion affair. Biscuit stirs under my desk, looking up at me with those trusting brown eyes. Don't worry, buddy, I tell him. We're about to teach Daddy a very expensive lesson about underestimating women who balance checkbooks. My phone buzzes again. Hazel. Also, you've been weird lately. Everything okay? I smile at the screen. Soon, dear sister. Soon you'll know everything. The restaurant Holden and Karina want to build? It's about to have a new silent partner. One who controls 51% of everything. One who's been reviewing their budget and noticing all the places where they're about to fail. One who knows exactly how to fix those failures while simultaneously destroying everything they hope to build. Welcome to my investment strategy, where the returns are measured in poetic justice and the dividends are paid in schadenfreude. Let the games begin. The next 72 hours pass in this surreal double consciousness. During the day, I'm perfect Mira, making Ivy's lunch with the crusts cut off just how she likes. Attending a parent-teacher conference where I learn our daughter is excelling in math, no surprise there, and video calling 3 different clients about their Q4 portfolios. At night, I'm Phoenix Mira, building a shell corporation so airtight that even the IRS would applaud my creativity. Sunday afternoon, September 21st. We're at Whole Foods, because of course we shop at Whole Foods. We're Portland people with opinions about organic kale. Holden's pushing the cart while I navigate our usual route through the store. Ivy's at a birthday party at Urban Air, so it's just us, playing house in the produce section. We should get more of that fancy cheese, Holden says, not looking up from his phone. The one with the truffle. I glance at the screen he's supposedly discreetly angled away from me. I catch 3 words. Tuesday venue walkthrough. The truffle cheese is $18 for 6 ounces, I say, placing organic strawberries in the cart. That's $48 per pound. We talked about watching discretionary spending this quarter. He sighs. That particular sigh. The one that says, here she goes again with the numbers. It's cheese, Mira. Not a yacht. No, a yacht would actually appreciate in value if we picked the right model. I smile sweetly. Cheese just gets moldy and becomes a metaphor for relationships. The joke lands flat because he's not listening. He's typing something, his thumbs moving with the urgency of someone who definitely isn't discussing quarterly reports. Sorry, what? He looks up, that practiced expression of mild attention he's perfected. Nothing. Get the cheese. Get 2. Get the whole wheel. Let's really commit to poor financial decisions. We round the corner into the wine section, and Holden physically perks up. Oh, we should get that Pinot Noir, the one from Willamette Valley. It'd be perfect for the restaurant. I mean, for dinner. For us. For home dinner. There it is. The slip. The tiny crack in his performance. You said restaurant. I stopped the cart. What restaurant? His face does this fascinating thing where multiple lies compete for dominance. I meant, when we go out. To restaurants. Generally speaking. Generally speaking. I nod slowly. Like how you've been, generally speaking, coming home at 10 p.m. 3 nights a week. That's work, babe. I told you, the new campaign? Right. The campaign. For the company that still lists their office hours as 9 to 6 on their website. A woman reaching for rosé shoots us a look. Holden's jaw tightens. Why are you being like this? And there it is. The gaslight special. When you question their lies, suddenly, you're the problem. You're being like this. You're the difficult one. Like what? I ask innocently. Interested in my husband's life? Wildly crazy concepts, I know. You're being paranoid. Paranoid. That's rich coming from someone who literally has a Google Drive folder titled, Keep Separate from M. I found that Friday night while he was passed out on the couch. Turns out, when you're building a secret restaurant empire with your affair partner, you create a lot of digital breadcrumbs. The Keep Separate folder contained gems like a lease agreement he'd already signed for the Division Street space 2 months ago, text message screenshots discussing how to manage the Mira situation, and a timeline for when they plan to go public with everything. Conveniently scheduled for January after the holidays, because even cheaters have standards about ruining Christmas. But my personal favorite, a document titled Exit Strategy, that outlined how Holden plans to position himself as the wronged party. Phrases like, grew apart, and she never supported my dreams, were highlighted like talking points for his future victim narrative. The audacity could fuel a small city. We finished shopping in silence. At checkout, the cashier, a 20-something with purple hair and a name tag reading River, because Portland, makes cheerful small talk. Holden charms her with his marketing director smile, the one that says, I'm a nice guy who recycles and drinks local craft beer. River doesn't know she's bagging groceries for a man who's literally stealing from his family's future to fund his midlife crisis. We drive home, unpack in coordinated silence, a dance perfected over 12 years. Holden disappears upstairs to check emails. I start meal prep, channeling rage into violently chopping vegetables. My phone buzzes. Hazel. Okay, you're officially worrying me. Lunch tomorrow in Portland? I'll drive down. I respond. Make it dinner, and bring your shark lawyer brain. I need it. 30 seconds later. OMG, what happened? Tomorrow. Trust me, you'll want wine for this story. Another buzz. Rowan. That property I mentioned? Owner's motivated. Restaurant space, fully equipped kitchen, Division Street. Wants to close fast. Interested? I stop chopping. Look at my phone. Look at the ceiling, where Holden is presumably upstairs texting Karina about their dream location. The same location Rowan just sent me. The universe has jokes. I call Rowan immediately. The Division Street property. Send me everything. And I mean everything. Comps, traffic patterns, lease terms, owner motivation, what the previous tenant served for lunch. Full analysis by tomorrow morning. Mira, that's like 40 hours of work compressed into 12. I'll pay you double your usual research fee. Okay, but why the urgency? You've never been this aggressive about a property. Let's just say I'm considering a hostile takeover of the fusion cuisine market. I keep my voice light. Can you do it or not? For double. I'll have it to you by 7 a.m. But you're buying me brunch and explaining this weirdness. Deal. I hang up and continue destroying innocent carrots. Upstairs I hear Holden laughing. Actually laughing. A sound I haven't heard directed at me in months. He's probably FaceTiming her, discussing their vision, while I'm down here preparing his meals for the week like some kind of 1950s housewife cosplay. Monday morning, September 22nd. I drop Ivy at school, watching her run toward her friend group with her rainbow backpack bouncing. She turns back, waves, gives me that smile that makes every sacrifice worth it. Whatever happens with Holden, I need to protect this. Her stability, her happiness, her belief that families stay together. At 7:15 a.m., Rowan's email hits my inbox. The subject line reads, "Your mystery property, and girl, we need to talk." I open it in my car, still in the school parking lot. The report is thorough. The Division Street space is a former Italian restaurant that closed 6 months ago after the owner retired. 3,500 square feet. Commercial kitchen with all equipment included. Patio seating. Prime location near trendy boutiques and the new condos that went up last year. Current asking price, $425,000 to purchase the building outright, or $8,500 per month to lease. Estimated monthly operating costs for a restaurant, $45,000, $55,000. Projected time to profitability for a new restaurant in that location, 18 to 24 months. Holden and Karina's financial projections show them breaking even in 6 months. I actually laugh out loud in my Subaru. 6 months. These absolute children think they're going to open a fusion restaurant in one of Portland's most competitive food markets and be profitable in 6 months. Their business plan is less realistic than Ivy's belief in the tooth fairy, and she's 9. At the bottom of Rowan's report, there's a personal note. Mir, I did some digging. Someone's already inquiring about this property hard. Multiple phone calls, sent representatives to view it 3 times last week. The owner mentioned it's a young couple wanting to open a Korean-Italian place. Ring any bells? Call me now. My phone rings immediately. Rowan doesn't wait for me to say hello. Explain. Can't. Not yet. But I need you to do something for me, and I need you to trust me without questions. This is either going to be brilliant, or I'm going to be visiting you in prison. Probably both. I need you to submit an offer on that property. Cash offer, 30 days to close, 10% over asking. But it needs to come through a corporate entity that can't be traced back to me. Silence. Then, Mira, what is happening? Holden's having an affair. They're opening that restaurant together. I'm about to become their majority investor, without them knowing it's me. More silence. Then Rowan starts laughing. Not polite laughter. Full body, can't breathe, tears streaming laughter. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is the most savage thing I've ever heard. I'm in. I'm so in. What do you need? Help me buy a building and destroy my husband's dreams. In that order. Best Monday ever. I'll call the owner within the hour. I hang up and sit in my car, watching other parents drop off their kids, everyone playing their roles in this suburban theater. Soccer moms and dads, professionals in business casual, nannies with multiple children in tow. All of us pretending we have it together. All of us hiding something. My phone buzzes. A text from Holden. Forgot to mention, I have a networking dinner Wednesday night. Don't wait up. Networking dinner. Is that what we're calling it now? I respond, no problem. Ivy and I will have a girls' night. Maybe we'll watch one of those cooking competition shows. I've been really interested in restaurant failures lately. So educational. The 3 dots appear, disappear, appear again. Then, sounds fun. He doesn't get the joke, but he will. Oh, honey, he absolutely will. Monday evening, September 22nd. Hazel arrives at my house at 6:30 p.m. sharp, carrying a bottle of wine that probably costs more than most people's car payments. My sister doesn't do anything by halves. Not her legal career, not her designer wardrobe, and definitely not her reaction when I explain the situation. I'm going to murder him, she says, exactly 4 minutes into my explanation. We're in my kitchen. Ivy safely upstairs doing homework with noise-canceling headphones. Biscuit sleeping at our feet. I'm going to murder him, and then I'm going to resurrect him just so I can file the most vicious divorce papers the state of Oregon has ever seen. No murder necessary. I have a better plan. I spread the documents across my kitchen island. Rowan's property analysis, screenshots from Holden's Google Drive, the timeline of the affair, the restaurant's laughably optimistic financial projections, and finally, the corporate documents for Phoenix Ventures, LLC, established Friday afternoon with Felicity's help. Hazel studies everything with her lawyer brain fully activated. She's quiet for 3 full minutes, an eternity for my sister, before she looks up at me with something like awe. You're going to buy the building out from under them. Better, I already did. Rowan submitted the offer this morning. All cash, close in 30 days, 10% over asking. The owner accepted 2 hours ago. Holy. Hazel stops herself, glancing toward the stairs. Mira, this is beautifully vindictive. I prefer financially strategic. I pour us both wine. But here's the thing. I don't just want the building. I want control. I want to be their angel investor, their salvation, their ticket to making this restaurant happen. And I want them to sign contracts that give me 51% ownership before they know who I am. Hazel starts laughing. You're going to make them beg you for the money to betray you with. Poetic, right? She raises her glass. I'm morally obligated as your attorney to advise you this is potentially unethical. And as my sister? As your sister, I'm asking where I can help destroy this man's life. We clink glasses. Sisterhood is beautiful. I need you to draw up investment contracts, I say. Airtight. The kind where they sign over majority control without realizing it until it's too late. Can you do that? Can I do that? Mira, I once wrote a prenup so ironclad that the husband's own mother congratulated the wife. This is my Olympic event. Over the next 2 hours, Hazel drafts preliminary documents while I coordinate with Felicity via email. The plan crystallizes. Phoenix Ventures will approach Holden and Karina as interested investors. We'll arrange the initial meeting through a third-party consultant, someone Holden's never met, and I won't appear until the contracts are signed. What about the business plan? Hazel asks, reading through Holden's projections again. These numbers are garbage. They'll tank in 3 months, even with proper funding. Exactly. That's where I come in as the concerned investor who insists on operational changes. Every decision, every vendor, every menu item, I'll have final approval, and I'm going to watch them slowly realize they built a prison for themselves. You're kind of scary when you're calculating. 12 years of marriage to a cheater will do that. My phone buzzes. A text from Holden. Dinner running late. Don't wait up. Love you. Love you. 2 words he types while probably sitting across from her at some trendy restaurant, discussing their future while I fund it from our joint account. I show Hazel the text. She makes a sound like an angry cat. Wednesday, I say. His networking dinner. Want to do surveillance? I'm a corporate attorney, not a private investigator. So that's a yes? Obviously that's a yes. Tuesday morning, September 23rd. I meet with Felicity at her downtown office, all glass and steel and aggressive professionalism. She's 50-something, with silver hair cut in a sharp bob, and the kind of presence that makes opposing counsel weep. Mira. She doesn't smile, just gestures to the chair across from her massive desk. Your shell corporation is established, fully legal, completely untraceable to you personally. Now explain why you're buying a restaurant property. I explain. Everything. She listens without interrupting, which is somehow more intimidating than if she'd reacted. When I finish, she leans back in her chair. This is either genius or you're having a breakdown. Can it be both? Fair point. She pulls up documents on her computer. Here's what we're going to do. Phoenix Ventures purchases the building outright. That closes in 30 days. Simultaneously, we establish a second entity, Cascade Capital Partners, that will approach your husband and his friend about investment. Cascade will offer them exactly what they need, startup capital in exchange for equity. We'll structure it so they think they're getting a great deal. 65% ownership for them combined, 35% for us. But buried in the operational clauses, we retain final decision authority on all major business decisions, which effectively means control. Will they sign that? Desperate people sign anything. And based on these financials, they're very desperate. She pauses. There's one problem. What? You're using joint marital assets for this. When the divorce happens, and it will happen, this could get complicated. I've thought about that. The building purchase comes from my separate business account, my consulting income. The investment offer will come from Phoenix Ventures, which is funded by my personal assets from before the marriage. Everything's clean. Felicity actually smiles. You've been planning this? I've been planning this since I was 22 and knew I never wanted to be financially dependent on anyone. I lean forward. Can you make this happen? I can make this happen. But Mira, understand? Once you start this, there's no going back. You're going to destroy your marriage. Felicity, my marriage was destroyed the moment he decided someone else was more important. I'm just controlling how it ends. She nods slowly. Then let's burn this thing down properly. Wednesday evening. September 24th. Hazel picks me up at 7 p.m. in her Tesla, because apparently everyone in my life drives Teslas now, and we head to downtown Portland. Holden's networking dinner is at Irving Street Kitchen, a trendy spot known for its open kitchen and C&B scene vibe. Terrible choice for a secret affair meeting. Excellent choice for my purposes. We park across the street with a clear view of the entrance. Hazel has a tablet with her, ostensibly reviewing case files but actually ready to document everything. I feel ridiculous, like we're in a bad movie. But then I see him, Holden, walking up to the restaurant at 7:25 p.m., wearing the sport coat I bought him for his birthday. He's on his phone, smiling at whatever he's reading, and then she appears. Karina Landry. I've seen photos, but in person she's younger than I expected. Maybe 30, 32. Long, dark hair, one of those effortlessly elegant looks that probably takes 2 hours. She's wearing designer jeans and heels, and when Holden sees her, his whole face transforms. That's what hurts. Not the affair itself, but the expression on his face. The way he looks at her like she's sunlight. The way he used to look at me 12 years ago. They embrace. Not a friendly hug. A real embrace. His hand on her lower back, her face buried in his neck. Then they walk into the restaurant together, and I watch through the windows as they're seated at an intimate corner table. Want me to go in there and accidentally spill wine on them? Hazel asks. Tempting. But no. I pull out my phone and take several photos through the window. Time-stamped, location tagged. I just need evidence that his networking dinners aren't about networking. We watch them for 30 minutes. They're clearly comfortable together, laughing, touching hands across the table, sharing food. This isn't new. This isn't awkward. This is a relationship. A whole separate relationship that exists parallel to our marriage. At one point, Holden pulls out his laptop, the same one I used to discover everything, and they lean over it together, looking at something on the screen. The restaurant plans, probably. Their future. Their dream. Built on my money. In my city. While I sit at home with our daughter. My phone buzzes. A text from Holden. Dinner going long. These clients are chatty. Be home around 10. Kiss Ivy goodnight for me. I show Hazel. She looks at the restaurant. At Holden visible through the window. Then back at the phone. I want to be there when you destroy him. You will be. I promise. Thursday morning, September 25th. Everything starts moving fast. Felicity emails me. Cascade Capital Partners is established. We have a representative ready to approach them. Give me the go-ahead and we'll make contact tomorrow. Rowan texts. Building inspection scheduled for next week. This is really happening, isn't it? Hazel sends a draft of the investment contracts. These are bulletproof. They'll think they're getting a gift from heaven. They're actually signing over control of everything. Review and approve. I sit in my home office, biscuit at my feet, and review every document. The building purchase agreement, the LLC formation papers, the investment proposal, the contracts that will give me 51% control disguised as a generous deal. Everything is perfect. Everything is legal. Everything is about to change. And the best part? Holden still thinks I'm just his boring, practical wife who cares too much about spreadsheets and not enough about his dreams. He's about to learn that spreadsheets are how you win wars. I email Felicity. Go ahead. Make contact. Let's introduce them to their new investor. Her response comes immediately. Burning it down. This is going to be fun. I lean back in my chair and look at the ceiling. Above me, Holden's getting ready for work, completely unaware that his entire future is being carefully dismantled by the woman he underestimated. The woman who taught him how to use Google Drive. The irony is almost too perfect. Friday morning, September 26th. Felicity's representative, a professional consultant named Marcus who specializes in restaurant investments, makes contact with Holden. I'm not there for the initial call, but Felicity sends me a recording of his voicemail response. Mr. Vaughn, this is Marcus Webb from Cascade Capital Partners. We've been reviewing opportunities in Portland's culinary scene and came across the Fusion Affair concept. We're very interested in discussing potential investment. Please call me at your earliest convenience. Holden calls back in 14 minutes. Felicity times it. Over the next week, everything accelerates. Marcus meets with Holden and Karina twice. They're desperate, enthusiastic, and according to Marcus's reports, almost offensively naive about basic business operations. Their projected food costs are 30% too low. Their staffing plan is understaffed by at least 3 people. They've budgeted nothing for marketing beyond social media presence. It's like watching children play restaurant. Wednesday, October 1st. The investment meeting. Cascade Capital Partners offers them exactly what they need, $450,000 in startup capital. In exchange, Cascade wants 35% equity. Holden and Karina will split 65% between them. On paper, it looks generous. They're maintaining majority ownership. They get the funding they desperately need. It's a dream scenario. Except buried in the operational agreement, the part that most people skim because it's 70 pages of legal terminology, are clauses that give the investor final approval on all major business decisions. Vendor selection, menu pricing, hiring and firing, lease negotiations, marketing strategy. Everything that actually matters. Hazel crafted it beautifully. They'll own 65% of nothing they can control. They sign on Thursday, October 2nd. Marcus sends me a photo of the executed contracts. I'm at Ivy's soccer game, watching our daughter score a goal, when I receive confirmation that I now own 51% control of my husband's affair project. Life is remarkably strange sometimes. The building purchase closes on October 20th. Phoenix Ventures now owns the Division Street property. Cascade Capital immediately offers Holden and Karina a lease at below-market rates, 15% less than they'd budgeted. They're thrilled. They think they found the deal of the century. They have no idea their landlord and their investor are the same person, or that the same person is currently sleeping in their bed and making their breakfast. The restaurant build-out begins in early November, and this is where I start exercising my contractual rights. Their first choice for a general contractor? Overpriced and unreliable. I reject it, suggest an alternative, one who happens to be excellent and costs 30% less. They're confused but grateful. Their kitchen equipment vendor? Marked up by 40%. I reject it, provide a better option. Again, confusion and gratitude. Their proposed menu pricing? Undervalued by at least 20%. I require adjustments. Holden actually argues this one. But the contract is clear. Final approval rests with the investor. Every decision, I'm there. Not as Mira, but as the mysterious Cascade Capital Partners, protecting their investment, making them better despite themselves. It's infuriating for them and absolutely delicious for me. At home, Holden's stress levels are approaching critical mass. He complains constantly about the controlling investors who won't let us execute our vision. They keep changing everything, he rants over dinner on November 10th, pushing his food around his plate. Ivy's at a sleepover, so it's just us. We wanted this specific Italian tile for the bathrooms, but they insisted on a different option. We wanted local craft beer on tap. They're making us diversify the beer selection. It's like they don't trust us. Maybe they're trying to help? I offer innocently. I mean, they did give you almost $500,000. Maybe they know something about running successful restaurants? We know what we're doing, Mira. This is our dream. Still protecting the fantasy that this is his and Karina's special project. I'm sure it'll work out, I say, refilling his wine. You're so talented. I believe in you. The lies taste like victory now. November 18th. The soft opening is supposed to be an intimate event. 50 people, mostly Holden and Karina's friends and family. Low-key, quiet. A chance to test the menu before the official launch. Cascade Capital Partners has other ideas. Marcus contacts them with a proposal. What if we made the soft opening a bigger event? Invite local food critics, bloggers, maybe some local media. Generate early buzz. We'll cover the additional costs. They resist initially. Karina, especially. She wants it intimate and personal. But the contract is clear, and the investor is offering to pay for everything. They agree. The night of November 22nd, I'm getting ready in our bedroom. Black dress, heels, professional makeup. Holden thinks I'm attending a client dinner downtown. You look nice, he says, barely glancing up from his laptop. He's probably emailing her about last-minute details. Thanks. New client? Want to make a good impression? You'll be okay with Ivy? Yeah, we're doing movie night. Don't wait up. I won't. Because I'll be at his restaurant opening, watching his face when he realizes who actually owns his dream. Hazel picks me up at 6:30. Rowan meets us there. Felicity arrives separately. All business in a power suit that could intimidate a federal judge. The restaurant looks beautiful. I'll give them that. The space is transformed. Warm lighting, the Korean-Italian fusion aesthetic somehow works. Open kitchen visible from the dining area. It's actually exactly what I would have created if I'd designed it myself. Which, technically, I kind of did. Every major decision has my fingerprints on it. The guest list is about 120 people now. Food critics from Portland Monthly and The Oregonian. Local lifestyle bloggers with significant followings. The kind of opening that can make or break a restaurant before it officially launches. Holden and Karina are working the room, nervous but excited. She's wearing a stunning red dress. He's in a suit I've never seen before. They look like a power couple, greeting guests, accepting congratulations. They have no idea I'm here. I'm standing near the bar with Hazel and Rowan, partially hidden by a decorative screen, watching. At 7:15, Marcus approaches them. I can't hear the conversation from here, but I see Holden's expression shift from pleasant to confused when Marcus starts explaining that the primary investor would like to address the guests. That the primary investor is here tonight. That the primary investor would like to be introduced. Karina looks around the room nervously. Holden's scanning faces, trying to guess who it might be. Some older gentleman in a suit? That elegant woman near the kitchen? The investor has been so mysterious, communicating only through Marcus and contract signatures. Marcus gestures toward me. I step forward, out from behind the screen. Rowan and Hazel flank me like bodyguards. Felicity appears from the other direction. The look on Holden's face is worth every penny I've invested. Confusion first, then recognition, then understanding, then horror. The progression takes maybe 3 seconds, but feels like watching a building collapse in slow motion. Karina sees me next. She's clearly confused about why Holden looks like he's seeing a ghost. She doesn't know who I am yet. We've never met. I walk toward them, heels clicking on the hardwood floor. The room hasn't noticed yet. People are still chatting, drinking, enjoying appetizers. But Holden and Karina are frozen. "Hello, honey," I say sweetly when I reach them. "Surprise. Mira." His voice barely works. "What are you doing here?" "Well, as the majority investor in Fusion Affair, I thought I should probably attend the opening." I smile at Karina. "You must be Karina. I've heard so much about you. I'm Mira, Holden's wife." She goes pale, like actually loses color in her face. "Wife," she repeats faintly. "Oh, did he not mention that part?" I tilt my head sympathetically. Men, so bad at communication. "Yes, wife of 12 years, mother of his 9-year-old daughter, and apparently, as of 6 weeks ago, the primary investor in your restaurant." Marcus steps forward with a tablet. "Ms. Vaughn holds 51% operational control through Cascade Capital Partners and owns the building through Phoenix Ventures, LLC. All contracts were executed legally and are binding." The room is starting to notice now. Conversations trailing off, people turning to watch. Holden finds his voice. You're Cascade Capital? And Phoenix Ventures. Surprise times 2. I gesture around the restaurant. Beautiful space, isn't it? I'm particularly proud of the kitchen equipment upgrade I insisted on, and the lease terms I negotiated. Below market rate, you'll notice. I'm a very generous landlord. This isn't possible. Karina's voice shakes. The investors were from Seattle. The building owner was some corporation. Both me. Well, technically both my corporate entities, but semantics. I accept a glass of champagne from a passing server. "Thank you for signing those contracts, by the way. My attorney said they were bulletproof, but you never know until someone actually signs them." Holden's face cycles through emotions. "Why would you do this?" "Why would I do this?" I repeat slowly. "Holden, you've been having an affair for 6 months. You created a whole secret business with your affair partner using our joint financial resources. You have a Google Drive folder literally titled, 'Keep Separate from M.' You planned your exit strategy from our marriage like it was a marketing campaign, and you're asking why I would do this?" People are definitely listening now. The room is silent except for the background music. "I gave you the funding you desperately needed," I continue. "I own the building at below market rates that keep your costs down. I've made every business decision better and more profitable. I have literally saved this restaurant from the disaster your original plans would have been." I pause. "You're welcome." "You can't do this," Karina says. "This is our restaurant, our dream. Actually, according to the contracts you both signed, it's our restaurant. You own 32.5% each. I own 51%, which means every decision, every menu change, every vendor contract, it goes through me." I smile. "But don't worry, I'm very invested in this restaurant's success. After all, it's my money too." A food critic I recognize from Portland Monthly approaches with a notebook. "Ms. Vaughn, can I ask?" "The restaurant opens officially in 2 weeks," I say clearly, voice carrying. "The menu is exceptional. Korean-Italian fusion executed beautifully. The chefs are talented. The space is gorgeous. I'm confident this will be one of Portland's must-visit restaurants." I look at Holden. Despite some complications in the management structure, Felicity steps forward. "Additionally, Phoenix Ventures and Cascade Capital have established strict operational oversight. All financial decisions require investor approval. This protects everyone's interests and ensures professional management." Holden's mouth opens and closes. No words come out. Karina looks like she might cry or scream or both. "You destroyed everything." "No," I correct gently. "I invested in everything. There's a difference. This restaurant will succeed. You'll both make money. You'll build your reputations. You just won't have control." I finish my champagne. Consider it a learning experience about reading contracts before signing them. The room erupts into chaos. Some guests are laughing. The critics are taking notes furiously. Someone's definitely filming on their phone. Holden and Karina stand there, destroyed, while their dream opening becomes a viral spectacle. I turn to leave, then pause. "Oh, Holden, I'll be staying at Hazel's in Seattle for a while. The house is yours. Ivy and I need some space. You understand?" "Mira, we'll discuss divorce terms through attorneys. I'm sure it'll all be very civilized. I walk out of the restaurant I own, where my husband built his affair into a business, and step into the Portland night air feeling lighter than I have in months. Behind me, I hear Karina's voice rising. "You told me you were separated." Classic. 6 months later. May 15th. Fusion Affair is Portland's hottest new restaurant. 5-star reviews. Wait lists stretching weeks. Featured in Bon Appetit's Best New Restaurants in America list. The Korean-Italian fusion concept that seemed ridiculous on paper is somehow brilliant in execution. Turns out, when you force people to follow sound business practices and hire competent management, restaurants can actually succeed. Who knew? I'm sitting in my new condo in Seattle's Capitol Hill neighborhood. Smaller than the Portland house, but mine, completely mine. Reviewing the quarterly financials. My 51% is generating significant returns. Holden and Karina's combined 49% is also doing well. Everyone's making money. They just hate every minute of it. The divorce finalized in March. Holden kept the house. I kept my consulting business and my investment portfolios. We split Ivy's time 50-50, though she's with me most weeks because, surprise, Holden's restaurant schedule doesn't leave much time for parenting. Turns out running a successful restaurant is actual work. Exhausting work. The kind that doesn't leave energy for much else. Karina and Holden are still together, technically. Though according to Rowan, who still has friends in Portland's restaurant scene, the relationship is strained. Building a romance on betrayal and then having it publicly exposed while losing control of your dream project isn't great for long-term relationship health. The restaurant's success is the most delicious irony. Every decision I forced on them, the menu pricing, the vendor selections, the marketing strategy, the operational structure, turned out to be right. They built something remarkable. They just built it in a cage I designed. Marcus sends monthly reports. Holden's professional but cold in all business communications. Karina requested that all investor correspondence go through their attorney instead of directly. I graciously agreed. I'm a very accommodating business partner. Last month, they tried to buy me out, offered me double my investment to sell my shares and walk away. I declined. Not because I need the money. My consulting business is thriving, and I've taken on 3 new major clients since moving to Seattle. I declined because watching them succeed in something I control is its own form of poetry. Also, the restaurant is genuinely profitable. I'm not stupid enough to walk away from good returns. Ivy's doing remarkably well, all things considered. Kids are resilient in ways adults forget. She loves having 2 places, enjoys Seattle's energy, and her grades haven't dropped at all. Last week she told me she wants to be a lawyer like Aunt Hazel when she grows up. I suggested financial consultant instead. She said, "Why not both?" That's my girl. Hazel still thinks the whole thing is the funniest revenge story she's ever heard. She brings it up at family gatherings like people share vacation photos. Remember when Mira bought her husband's affair restaurant? She's currently representing me in some post-divorce property disputes and charges me her standard rates. Sisters are ruthless about business. Rowan's become my Seattle real estate agent and closest confidant in my new city life. She's helping me look at investment properties here. Apparently, once you successfully weaponize real estate against your cheating spouse, you develop a taste for it. The Portland house sold last month. Holden couldn't afford it alone, not with restaurant expenses and child support. It's now owned by a young tech couple with a new baby. I hope they're happy there. I hope their Google calendars only contain actual work meetings. Sometimes people ask if I regret it. The revenge, the complexity, the public humiliation. They expect me to feel guilty or admit it was too harsh. I don't. Here's what I learned. Being underestimated is a strategic advantage. Everyone assumes the practical wife, the numbers person, the one who packs school lunches and balances checkbooks, isn't capable of complex maneuvers. They're wrong. I learned that reading contracts thoroughly is the most powerful skill you can have. 70 pages of legal terminology saved my financial future and my dignity. I learned that sometimes love isn't enough. Sometimes respect matters more. And when someone shows you through their actions that they don't respect you, believe them, then act accordingly. I learned that revenge doesn't have to be destructive. Sometimes it's constructive. I didn't destroy Holden's restaurant. I made it successful. I just did it on my terms. Most importantly, I learned that the opposite of love isn't hate. It's indifference backed by excellent legal counsel and majority ownership. The restaurant sends me dividend checks quarterly. I deposit them into Ivy's college fund. She's 9 now, will be 10 in July. By the time she's 18, her education will be fully funded by her father's affair project. The irony is not lost on me. Last week, Portland Monthly ran a feature on Fusion Affair's success story. They interviewed Holden and Karina about their vision and partnership. The article briefly mentioned investor oversight, but framed it as standard business practice. My name wasn't mentioned. I'm just silent money in the background, exactly where I want to be. I still consult. I still love numbers and spreadsheets and finding patterns in financial data. But now I also love knowing that boring practical skills can be weaponized when necessary. That being underestimated is a gift. That patience and planning beat impulse and passion every single time. Biscuit's sleeping at my feet. I got him in the divorce, obviously. Ivy's at her friend's house. It's Saturday afternoon in Seattle, and I'm reviewing investment opportunities while drinking good coffee and planning my life without constantly wondering where my husband actually is. This is what freedom looks like. It looks like spreadsheets and quarterly reports. It looks like contractual control disguised as generous investment. It looks like teaching your daughter that when someone tries to write you out of the story, you buy the publishing house. My phone buzzes. A text from Marcus. Q2 projections looking strong. Restaurant exceeding targets. Owners requesting meeting about expansion plans. I smile and respond. Schedule it. I'm very interested in protecting my investment. Because here's the final lesson I learned. You don't have to destroy someone to win. Sometimes you just have to own them. Legally, financially, completely. And if that's petty, then pettiness is just strategic planning with better narrative structure. Welcome to the rest of my life. 51% controlled, 100% mine. My husband thought he was picking up his future. Instead, he was walking straight into his reckoning, and I had the best seat in the house for the show. Let me set the scene. Tuesday, November 12th, Nashville International Airport, Terminal C. I'm standing at baggage claim, exhausted from 3 days organizing Charleston's wedding expo, when I see him. My husband of 14 years, Marshall Hawthorne. Dr. Marshall Hawthorne, holding a handmade poster board that says, "Welcome home, beautiful," with little hearts drawn around it. Here's the thing about Marshall. In our entire relationship, the most romantic gesture he ever managed was ordering takeout from the nice Italian place instead of the cheap one. The man once gave me a Costco gift card for our anniversary. He said it was practical. So you can imagine my shock when I see him with not just a poster, but an enormous bouquet of peonies. My favorite flowers that I've mentioned approximately 800 times always met with his blank stare and a comment about how flowers just die anyway. But wait, it gets better. I'm standing there, partially hidden behind a family reunion, watching my husband shift his weight like a teenager at prom. He's wearing the navy cashmere sweater I bought him last Christmas, the one he claimed made him look too fancy for the hospital. His hair is actually styled. Marshall Hawthorne, who considers running his fingers through his hair adequate grooming, used product. And then I see her. She comes running through the terminal like she's in a Nicholas Sparks movie. Long dark hair flying, designer carry-on bouncing, smile that could sell toothpaste. She can't be more than 28, maybe 30. She's wearing a dress, at an airport. Who wears a dress on a plane unless they're trying to impress someone? Marshall's face lights up like Christmas morning. He drops the poster and opens his arms. She launches herself at him, and he catches her, spinning her around while she wraps her legs around his waist. In the middle of Nashville International Airport, I'm standing 30 feet away, watching my husband embrace another woman with more passion than he's shown me in 5 years. And the worst part? I recognize the watch on his wrist, the Tag Heuer I saved for 6 months to buy him for his 40th birthday. There it is, pressed against this woman's back as he holds her like she's the only person in the world. They kiss. Not a peck. A full-on movie trailer. Get a room kiss that makes the elderly couple next to me look away. I should be crying, right? That's what I thought I'd do if I ever caught my husband cheating. But I'm not crying. I'm furious. And more than that, I'm calculating. See, here's what Marshall doesn't know. I'm Vera Hawthorne, and I plan events for a living. Not just any events. Luxury events. Weddings for Nashville's elite, charity galas, corporate parties where million-dollar deals get made over champagne. I orchestrate perfect moments for a living. I control narratives. I turn visions into reality flawlessly. And right now, watching my husband play out this airport romance fantasy with his pharmaceutical rep. Oh yes, I recognize her now. Lila something or other from hospital functions. I'm already planning the greatest event of my career. My divorce party. Let me back up. My name is Vera Hawthorne. I'm 42. And until 3 minutes ago, I thought I had a decent marriage. We live in a gorgeous colonial in Forest Hills, one of Nashville's most exclusive gated communities. I drive a paid-off Mercedes GLE. We have dinner parties. We're country club members. On paper, we're living the dream. We don't have kids. I wanted them once. Marshall always said later, when the practice is more established, when we're more financially secure. Eventually, I stopped asking. I threw myself into my business instead. Turned Elegance Events into Nashville's most sought-after planning company. Built something that was mine. Looking back, I can see when things shifted. About 2 years ago, Marshall started working later, going to more conferences, paying more attention to his appearance. I noticed everything. It's my job. But I convinced myself it was a midlife crisis thing. What a fool he thinks I am. Because here's what Marshall doesn't realize. I'm not just some trophy wife who plans parties. I built my business from nothing. I negotiate contracts with vendors who'd eat him alive. I manage bridezillas who make hostile takeovers look friendly. I've dealt with catastrophes that would make a battlefield surgeon weep, all in heels and a smile. Marshall Hawthorne has no idea who he's dealing with. I watch them break apart. She's giggling while he retrieves her luggage. They walk right past me, close enough that I smell her perfume, something floral and expensive, close enough to see the small Tiffany & Co. bag hanging from her wrist. Oh, Marshall. I pull out my phone and start taking pictures. Quick snaps that look like I'm scrolling social media. The two of them walking, his arm around her waist. Marshall loading her bags into his car, the Audi Q7 we bought together, that I make half the payments on. A clear shot of them kissing against the driver's side door. I take video too. Nothing suspicious, just a woman on her phone like everyone else. They drive away. Marshall doesn't glance toward my parking spot 3 rows over. Why would he? He thinks I'm landing tomorrow afternoon. He thinks he has another 24 hours to play house before his boring wife comes home. I stand in that parking garage for 5 minutes after they leave, and I start to laugh. Not sad, hysterical laughter. Genuine, this is actually hilarious laughter. Because Marshall has made the classic mistake every cheater makes. He underestimated me. He sees the woman who plans parties, who makes sure his dry cleaning is picked up and his bourbon is stocked, who smiles at his colleagues' boring stories and doesn't complain when he cancels date night. He doesn't see the woman who negotiated a 6-figure contract with Vanderbilt last month, who has personal cell numbers of half the judges in Davidson County, who knows exactly how much we have in every account because I've been managing our finances for 14 years while he played doctor. I get in my car, but I don't drive home. I point toward downtown, toward my office on Broadway, where I keep files on everything, every receipt, bank statement, credit card charge from the last 5 years, because documentation is everything, and I'm about to document the hell out of Marshall Hawthorne's biggest mistake. I'm not some passive victim waiting to be discarded. I'm Vera Hawthorne. I've planned events for governors, senators, country music stars, and Nashville's wealthiest families. I've coordinated weddings with 500 guests and million-dollar budgets. If Marshall wants to play games, I'm about to teach him he's been playing checkers while I've been playing chess. This is going to be the event of a lifetime. My magnum opus. The party to end all parties. And Marshall Hawthorne is going to be the guest of honor at his own destruction. I park behind the office building and take the elevator to the 3rd floor. It's after 7 on a Tuesday, So the building is empty except for cleaning crew. I unlock my office and flip on the lights. This office has been my sanctuary for 8 years. The place where I built something real. While Marshall was building his orthopedic practice and apparently his secret relationship, I was building an empire. I sit down and open my laptop. I pull up our joint bank accounts first. And there it is. A paper trail lit up with neon signs. Regular transfers to a Venmo account. Small enough not to raise red flags. 200 here, 150 there. But when I scroll back 18 months, we're talking over $15,000. Charges at restaurants I've never been to. Fleming's Steakhouse on a Tuesday when Marshall said he was working late. Distillery on a Friday when he had a consultation. Adele's on Valentine's Day when he claimed the hospital board meeting ran long. I actually felt guilty that night. Guilty for being upset he missed our dinner reservation. He told me the board ordered fancy catering, discussed budget allocations for hours. I believed him. Hotel charges. Not many. Apparently Marshall isn't even good at cheating. But there are a few. The Hutton Hotel last March. Thompson Nashville in July. 506 lofts in September. Then the real kicker. Tiffany & Co. for $2,847.82, dated October 28th, 2 weeks ago, on our joint credit card. You know what Marshall got me for our 13th anniversary? A spa gift certificate. To a strip mall day spa next to a Panera Bread. Because you work so hard, he said. I was grateful. I posted about it on Facebook with a heart emoji. Best husband ever. Meanwhile, he's dropping almost $3,000 at Tiffany for his girlfriend. I screenshot everything. Every transaction, every charge, every suspicious date. I email them to myself at a private Gmail account Marshall doesn't know about. Then I dig deeper. Marshall isn't tech-savvy. He uses the same password for everything. His birthday plus MD. I've known this for years. So it takes me 30 seconds to access his iCloud account. I'm in his photo stream. Hundreds of photos. Lila at restaurants. Lila at Centennial Park. Lila on a weekend trip to Gatlinburg. 3 months ago, when Marshall told me he was at a medical conference in Memphis. Selfies of them together at the Bluebird Cafe. Pinewood Social. All the trendy spots Marshall said were too loud when I suggested we go. Then I find the treasure. A text thread between Marshall and Rick. Rick Chambers, Marshall's college roommate. Best man at our wedding. Marshall. Taking her to the Gulch tomorrow. Finally pulling the trigger. Rick. About time, man. You've been talking about leaving Vera for 2 years. 2 years? 2 years he's been discussing leaving me. Marshall. I know. But the timing has to be right. After the holidays. Don't want to ruin Christmas, you know. How considerate. He's perfectly fine ruining our marriage, but God forbid he ruins Christmas. Rick. You're too nice, just rip the Band-Aid off. Marshall. Soon. Just need everything in place. The apartment lease is signed, and Lila's excited about moving in together. Marshall has an apartment. A lease. In the Gulch. One of Nashville's most expensive neighborhoods. Rick. What about the house? Marshall. Vera can have it. I don't care. I just want out. How generous. Marshall Hawthorne, philanthropist. Marshall. Met with the lawyer yesterday. He says as long as we don't have kids, it should be pretty straightforward. Rick. See? Nothing to worry about. Vera will probably be relieved anyway. You guys haven't been happy in years. Haven't been happy in years. That's what Marshall tells people. That we haven't been happy. Like this is mutual. Marshall. You're right. This is for the best. For both of us. Rick. When are you telling her? Marshall. After New Year's. I'll do the holidays. Make it nice for her one last time, then sit her down in January. Make it nice for me one last time. Like I'm a charity case. I sit back and laugh. Not a pleasant sound. Because Marshall doesn't understand. I'm not waiting to be discarded. I'm Vera Hawthorne. I've planned events for Nashville's elite. I've managed crises that would make grown men cry. If Marshall wants games, he's about to learn he's outmatched. I spend 2 hours documenting everything. Every photo, text message, bank statement, hotel receipt. I create a folder structure that would make a forensic accountant weep with joy. Then I research divorce attorneys. The best in Nashville. the ones who handle high-net-worth divorces, the ones who destroy cheating spouses. Victoria Blackwell is a legend. She's represented half the country music divorces in the last decade, absolutely ruthless protecting her clients. I fill out her website contact form. Urgent matter regarding divorce, substantial assets involved, evidence of affair and financial misconduct. Need consultation ASAP. I do the same for 3 other top-tier attorneys. Always have a backup plan. By 10 p.m., my phone has been buzzing. 5 missed calls from Marshall, 7 text messages. Marshall: "Hey, honey, just checking you landed okay in Charleston. Call me when you can." Marshall: "Getting worried. You usually text when you land." Marshall: "Vera, everything okay?" Marshall: "Probably asleep by now. Have a great last day tomorrow. Miss you." Marshall: "Love you." Marshall: "Don't forget we have the hospital gala planning meeting Friday. Need you there. You're so much better at this stuff than me. Love you, miss you, need you." The audacity. The absolute breathtaking audacity of this man sending loving texts while at his secret apartment with his girlfriend. I don't respond. Let him think I'm exhausted and went to bed early. Let him think everything is fine. Because tomorrow, I'm meeting with divorce attorneys. Tomorrow, I'm putting together a plan that will make every event I've coordinated look like a child's birthday party. Tomorrow, Marshall Hawthorne's fantasy life starts crumbling. But tonight, I drive home. To our house in Forest Hills, the house Marshall so generously says I can keep. I pull into the driveway at 10:45. The house is dark. I sit in my car, looking at our home. The colonial with white columns I fell in love with 14 years ago. The azalea bushes I planted. The porch where we used to sit and drink wine before Marshall got too busy. I've built a life here. A good life. And Marshall is ready to throw it away for a 28-year-old who probably thinks Nashville is the capital of Tennessee. We'll see about that. I unlock the front door. Everything is exactly as I left it, Saturday morning. My coffee mug in the sink, the book on the coffee table, the throw blanket on the couch. Home. Except it doesn't feel like home anymore. It feels like a museum exhibit. I pour wine, the expensive Pinot Noir Marshall bought for a dinner party, and sit at the kitchen table with my laptop. I have work to do, research to conduct, a strategy to develop. In 3 days, I have a consultation with Victoria Blackwell. I'm walking in with enough evidence to bury Marshall Hawthorne so deep he'll need a mining team to find his way out. The best part? He has no idea it's coming. He thinks he has until January. He thinks he's in control. Marshall Hawthorne is about to learn the most important lesson of his life. Never underestimate the woman you betrayed, especially when that woman makes her living turning dreams into reality and nightmares into unforgettable events. Wednesday morning, I wake at 6 a.m. and for 3 seconds, I forget my entire life is a lie. Then reality crashes back. Marshall thinks I'm in Charleston. Marshall is at his secret apartment with Lila. Marshall has been planning to leave me for 2 years. I should feel devastated. Instead, I feel remarkably clear-headed. I make coffee and check emails. 3 divorce attorneys already responded. All can see me this week. Victoria Blackwell's office had a cancellation for Friday afternoon at 3 p.m. Fortuitous timing. I confirm appointments. Victoria Blackwell on Friday. James Patterson at Patterson & Associates Thursday morning. Linda Walsh at Westwood Family Law Thursday afternoon. Then I text Marshall. Me. Sorry. Fell asleep so early. Long day. Conference is great. Miss you too. See you tomorrow afternoon. His response comes within 30 seconds. Marshall. No worries. Glad you're having a good time. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Love you. Love you. The hypocrisy is almost impressive. I spend Wednesday working. 3 client meetings. Virtual, thankfully. Between meetings, I research Tennessee divorce law, community property versus equitable distribution, how courts view dissipation of marital assets, what happens when one spouse uses joint funds to finance an affair. Turns out, judges really don't like that. Tennessee has fault-based divorce. Adultery absolutely affects how assets get divided. Marshall has made every possible mistake. Used joint funds for his affair, documented it all on shared accounts, confessed his plans in text messages. bought expensive gifts for his girlfriend on our credit card. Marshall Hawthorne, brilliant orthopedic surgeon, is an absolute moron at infidelity. By Wednesday evening, I've compiled 47 pages of evidence, meticulously organized, labeled, dated, cross-referenced, bank statements, screenshots, photos, hotel receipts, restaurant charges, the Tiffany receipt, everything. I save it to 3 cloud storage services and email copies to myself. Then I print 2 physical copies, one for my office, one for a safety deposit box Marshall doesn't know exists. Thursday morning, I'm up at 5 a.m., first attorney consultation at 9. I dress carefully. Navy Brooks Brothers pantsuit, cream silk blouse, pearls. Professional. Put together. The look says, successful businesswoman who deserves respect, not falling apart and desperate. James Patterson's office is in the Gulch. Ironically, probably near Marshall's love nest. All glass and chrome. Very expensive looking. James Patterson is mid-50s, expensive suit, firm handshake. The kind of smile that costs $300 an hour. Mrs. Hawthorne, he says, I understand you're dealing with an urgent situation. That's putting it mildly. I slide my 47-page document across his desk. His eyebrows rise as he flips through pages, then rise higher, then practically disappear. This is comprehensive. I'm an event planner. Organization is kind of my thing. I can see that. He reaches the Tiffany receipt and his mouth twitches. Mrs. Hawthorne, in 23 years of practicing family law, I have never seen a case this well documented on day one. Is that good? Very good. For you. Less good for your husband. I tell him everything. The airport, the flowers, the embrace, the systematic documentation. And your husband doesn't know you know? He thinks I'm in Charleston until this afternoon. He thinks everything is fine. Good. Keep it that way. He leans back. Tennessee is an equitable distribution state. But in cases where one spouse dissipated marital assets to finance an affair, courts factor that in. He used joint funds for hotels, dinners, jewelry for his mistress. That's dissipation. What does that mean for me? You have an excellent case for more than 50% of marital assets. We can argue he owes you reimbursement. If he fights you, we have enough ammunition to bury him. Validation floods through me. However, I notice you don't have children. That simplifies things. No custody battles. We're looking at asset division and possibly alimony. I own my own business, Elegance Events. Last year I cleared $230,000 in profit. His eyebrows rise. And your husband's income? Orthopedic surgeon. Around $450,000 annually, plus bonuses. So there's a disparity, but not massive. You're both high earners. That works in your favor. You're not financially dependent. That narrative plays well. We talk strategy, timeline, expectations. He explains Tennessee requires grounds for divorce. Adultery qualifies. Temporary injunctions to prevent draining accounts. Discovery, depositions, potential trial. But honestly, with evidence like this, most defendants settle. Going to trial means this becomes public record. His affair, his spending, all of it. Most professionals want to avoid that. Next is Linda Walsh at Westwood Family Law. Green Hills office. Less flashy, more intimidating. Linda Walsh is tiny, early 60s, looks like someone's grandmother but has shark eyes. She flips through my documentation at lightning speed. When I'm finished, she looks up. Do you want to hurt him, or do you want to win? What's the difference? Hurting him feels good in the moment. Winning means you get what you deserve and move on intact. Both are valid, but they require different strategies. I want to win. But if hurting him is part of winning, I'm okay with that. Linda Walsh smiles. Terrifying. Then we'll get along just fine. She's more aggressive than James Patterson, direct about what we can demand and prove, leverage the affair evidence, freeze joint accounts, hire a forensic accountant to trace every dollar Marshall spent on Lila. Men like your husband, successful, arrogant, convinced they're smarter than everyone, they make mistakes. You've documented all of them beautifully. How far do you want to take this? As far as I need to. Good answer. By 2 p.m., I have one more stop. The bank. I walk into First Tennessee Bank on West End and ask about our accounts. Sandra, the banker who's helped us for years, greets me warmly. Mrs. Hawthorne, what can I do for you? I need to understand our accounts. I'm concerned about security. Over 45 minutes, I learn exactly what we have everywhere. Withdrawal limits, protections to prevent one spouse from draining accounts. Turns out, not many protections exist. Marshall could theoretically withdraw everything tomorrow. Is there a way to require dual authorization for large withdrawals? Not on standard joint accounts. However, if you're concerned, you could open a separate account in just your name and transfer your portion there. And if my husband asks? Sandra gives me a look suggesting she's seen this movie before. Your financial security is important, Mrs. Hawthorne. You have every right to protect your assets. I don't move money yet. That would tip Marshall off. But I make note of everything, and I open a new business account for Elegance Events, in just my name, that Marshall has no access to and no knowledge of, just in case. By 3:45, according to my fake itinerary, my flight from Charleston is landing at 4:30. I drive to the airport and park where my car's been sitting since Tuesday. At 4:15, I text Marshall. Me. Just landed. Grabbing my bag and heading home. See you soon. Marshall. Great. I'll be home around 6. Want me to pick up dinner? Me. That would be amazing. I'm exhausted. Marshall. Thai food from that place you like? Me. Perfect. Look at us. The perfect couple. Coordinating dinner. It would be sweet if it weren't completely hollow. I drive home, following the route from the airport. I pull into our driveway at 5:20. The house is empty. I walk through with new eyes, seeing everything differently. I try to remember the last time Marshall and I were intimate. 6 months? 8? Longer? I convinced myself it was normal. We were busy, in our 40s, married 14 years. Now I realize things weren't cooling off for Marshall. He was just getting his needs met elsewhere. I pull out my phone. Tomorrow, Friday the 15th, I have my consultation with Victoria Blackwell at 3 p.m. The hospital gala is December 14th. And Marshall plans to ask for a divorce in January, after I've done all the emotional labor of making Christmas perfect. Well, I have news for Marshall Hawthorne. I'm not waiting until January. Marshall's car arrives at exactly 6 p.m. I force myself to breathe normally, relax my shoulders, plaster on my smile. He walks in carrying Thai kitchen bags. Same Marshall, same rumpled work clothes, same tired smile. It was great, I tell him, accepting his cheek kiss, which is all we do now. Exhausting but great. We eat Thai food and talk like everything is normal. Marshall tells me about a complicated surgery. I improvise Charleston conference details. How's work been otherwise? I ask. The usual. Lots of follow-ups. Couple of emergency consults. He drinks water. Oh, I need your help with that hospital gala planning. The committee meeting is Friday afternoon. You can make it, right? Friday afternoon. When I'll actually be in Victoria Blackwell's office, planning his destruction. Absolutely, I say with a smile. Wouldn't miss it. Friday afternoon, 3 p.m. sharp, I walk into Victoria Blackwell's office in the Pinnacle building downtown. The woman is a force of nature. Mid-50s, impeccably tailored gray suit, silver hair in a sharp bob, eyes that could cut glass. She's already reading my 47-page document. Mrs. Hawthorne, she says without looking up. Sit down. This is fascinating. I sit. Wait. Watch her flip through pages with lightning speed and laser focus. Finally, she looks up. Your husband is an idiot. I'm starting to realize that. No, I mean clinically stupid when it comes to covering his tracks. I've seen seasoned criminals with better operational security. She taps the document. This is gift-wrapped evidence. Did he take a class in how to spectacularly fail at having an affair? Despite everything, I laugh. He's very smart about bones, less smart about everything else. Clearly. Victoria leans back. Let me be direct. You have 3 options. 1. We file immediately. Use this evidence to push for a favorable settlement. You walk away with more than your fair share plus reimbursement. Clean option. Fast, efficient, relatively painless. What's option 2? Long game. We monitor activities, gather more evidence, wait for the most strategically advantageous timing, right before a major professional milestone, then strike. Revenge option. Slower, more satisfying, potentially more lucrative. And option 3? Victoria's smile is predatory. The public education option. We file, refuse to settle quietly, go to trial, make every detail public record, every hotel receipt, every text message, every dollar spent on his mistress. It all comes out in open court where reporters can access it, colleagues can read it. Professional reputation takes a permanent hit. That sounds expensive. It is. Also extremely effective if your goal is making sure he never forgets what he did. She pauses. But what I need to know? What do you actually want? Revenge is fun, but not always strategic. What's your end game? I think about this. Really think. I want Marshall to hurt, to lose something valuable, to understand consequences. But more, I want to win. Walk away with dignity intact, finances secure, life ready for whatever's next. I want Marshall to know he made the biggest mistake of his life underestimating me. I want option 1, but I want him to know it's happening at the worst possible moment. I want the element of surprise. And I want him to understand I knew everything, was 3 steps ahead, and he never had a chance. Victoria's grin could light up a stadium. Now that is something I can work with. Tell me, does your husband have any major professional events coming up? I think through Marshall's schedule, which I've been managing for years. The hospital is hosting a donor gala December 14th. Marshall is receiving an award for excellence in orthopedic surgery. Black tie, all major donors, hospital board, local media coverage. Perfect. And you're involved in planning this event? I'm the lead planner. Elegance Events is handling the entire gala. Victoria actually laughs. Oh, this is too good. So you'll be there, professionally, watching your husband receive an excellence award while knowing his life is about to implode. Mrs. Hawthorne, I think you and I are going to get along beautifully. We spend 90 minutes on strategy. Victoria explains we'll file divorce papers the week after the gala. Close enough that Marshall won't have time to hide assets, but far enough from the event that I maintain my professional reputation. With evidence this strong, most attorneys would advise immediate settlement, Victoria says. The alternative is trial and having this become public. Marshall's attorney will explain this. He'll understand fighting you is professional suicide. What if he fights anyway? Then we go to trial and destroy him. But honestly, men like your husband are cowards. They'll do anything to avoid public humiliation. He'll settle. How much can I expect? Victoria pulls out a calculator. I give her all the numbers. House equity, retirement accounts, savings, investments. She runs numbers. Conservatively, total marital assets of approximately $1.6 million. In a straight 50-50 split, you'd get $800,000. But given dissipation of assets and fault-based divorce grounds, I'd argue 60-40 in your favor. That puts you at $960,000. And the money he spent on Lila? That $15,000 plus? We demand full reimbursement. He pays you back every penny out of his share. $1 million. My share of a marriage that turned out to be elaborate fiction. When do we start? Today. I'll have my paralegal draw up initial paperwork. You sign documents, provide additional financial information, then we wait. You go back to normal life. Plan that gala. Smile at your husband. Play perfect wife for exactly 4 more weeks. Then, the week after he accepts his Excellence Award, we serve him with divorce papers. I leave Victoria's office at 4:45, feeling lighter than I have in days. I have a plan, an advocate, a strategy. Now I just have to survive 4 weeks. Marshall is home when I arrive, which is unusual for Friday evening. He's in the kitchen. Delicious smell from the oven. You're cooking? I ask, genuinely surprised. Thought I'd make your favorite. Chicken piccata. He's wearing an apron. When did we get an apron? You've been working so hard. Figured you could use a nice dinner. Suspicious. Marshall hasn't cooked in 3 years. That's so sweet. What's the occasion? No occasion. Just wanted to do something nice for my wife. We eat dinner, and it's actually good. We talk about the gala, the guest list, the award he's receiving. He's excited. "I couldn't have gotten this far without you," he says, squeezing my hand. "You've always supported me, Vera. Always been there. I don't say it enough, but I appreciate you." I want to throw wine in his face. I want to tell him I know everything. But I don't. I squeeze his hand back and smile. That's what partners do. We support each other. The next 3 weeks are a masterclass in compartmentalization. Days, I'm Vera Hawthorne, successful event planner, coordinating every detail of the hospital gala. Nights, I'm Vera Hawthorne, future divorcee, meeting with Victoria's paralegal, signing documents, planning Marshall's destruction. Marshall continues his double life with confidence. He's being suspiciously attentive. More dinners, more conversations. He even suggests a movie one weekend. I agree. We share popcorn. I laugh at appropriate moments. The whole time I'm thinking about how he's probably texting Lila. Thanksgiving comes. I host, as always. Marshall's parents from Kentucky. His sister Diane and husband from Memphis. I cook turkey, make homemade stuffing, bake 3 pies, play gracious hostess while Marshall's mother tells me I really should think about having children. "We're happy as we are," Marshall says, arm around me. Besides, Vera's career is really taking off. Right, honey? Right, I agree, smiling while internally screaming. By December 14th, I'm running on pure adrenaline and spite. The gala is tonight. Marshall will receive his award. I will smile and clap and pretend to be proud. And then, in exactly 5 days, December 19th at 6 p.m., a process server will knock on our door. The gala is perfect. Of course it is, because I planned it. Schermerhorn Symphony Center looks spectacular. Lighting exactly right. Flower arrangements stunning. Catering impeccable. 250 guests in black tie, drinking expensive wine. I'm wearing a navy blue gown, Marshall complimented. "You look beautiful," he said, and sounded like he meant it. Marshall receives his award at 8 p.m. The hospital CEO gives a speech about excellence and dedication. Marshall walks up, accepts his crystal trophy, gives a humble speech about how he couldn't have achieved any of this without his incredible wife. Everyone applauds. Several people smile at me. One colleague mouths, "Lucky guy." I smile back. I clap. I play my role perfectly. And I think about December 19th. After the ceremony, there's dancing. Marshall asks me to dance. We sway to generic jazz while he tells me how grateful he is. "This night wouldn't have been possible without you," he says. "You made it perfect." "That's my job," I tell him. "Not just the event planning. Everything. Our life together. You make it all work." I want to laugh. Our life together. The life where he has a secret apartment and a girlfriend. "We make it work together," I say instead. The evening ends around 11 p.m. Marshall is in such a good mood he's practically glowing. His award sits in the back seat. His career is thriving. His wife planned a perfect event. His girlfriend is waiting for him to pull the trigger on the divorce he's been planning. Everything is going according to Marshall's plan. Except it's not. December 19th arrives with cold gray weather that feels appropriate for ending a marriage. I've spent 5 days in surreal calm. The process server is scheduled at 6 p.m. sharp. Marshall will be home. I made sure by telling him I wanted a nice dinner to celebrate the gala's success. He seemed touched. "That's so thoughtful, honey. I'd love that." At 5:45 p.m., I'm in our living room wearing jeans and a sweater. Comfortable clothes for comfortable lies. When I hear Marshall's car. My heart pounds, but my hands are steady. Marshall walks in with wine and a smile. "Got your favorite Pinot Noir. Should I open it now or let it breathe?" "Let it breathe," I say. "We have time." At exactly 6 p.m., there's a knock. Marshall looks confused. "Are you expecting someone?" "Actually, yes." "Could you get that?" He walks to the door. I watch from the living room as he opens it to find a man in a suit holding a manila envelope. "Dr. Marshall Hawthorne?" "Yes?" "You've been served." The man hands him the envelope and walks back to his car. Marshall stands in the doorway, staring at the envelope like it might explode. Then he slowly closes the door and turns to me. "Vera, what is this?" "Open it and find out," I say calmly. His hands shake as he opens it. I watch his face as he reads. Confusion, shock, fear. Petition for divorce? His voice cracks. Vera, what? I don't understand. Really? I stand, crossing my arms. Let me help you understand, Marshall. Tuesday, November 12th. Nashville International Airport. You, with flowers and a poster board, picking up your girlfriend Lila. The color drains from his face. I can explain. Oh, I'm sure you can. Just like you can explain the secret apartment in the Gulch, the $15,000 on hotels and dinners, the Tiffany jewelry on our credit card. Should I keep going? How did you... He stops. You saw us. At the airport. I saw you. I photographed you. I documented everything. Every text message where you told Rick you were planning to leave me. Every hotel receipt. Every romantic dinner. I have it all, Marshall. Every single piece of evidence. He sinks onto the couch, still holding the papers. Vera, please, let me explain. It's exactly what I think. 2-year affair. Secret apartment. You were going to wait until after holidays to ask for divorce because you didn't want to ruin Christmas. Did I miss anything? His silence is answer enough. Here's what's going to happen, I continue. You're going to read those papers with your attorney. You're going to see the evidence, and trust me, it's comprehensive. You're going to realize fighting me means all this becomes public record. Your affair, your spending, all of it. Then you're going to agree to my terms. What terms? 60-40 split in my favor. Full reimbursement for every penny you spent on Lila. You don't contest anything. Don't drag this out. Don't try to paint yourself as victim. You sign, we divide assets, we move on. 60-40? Vera? That's not fair. Fair? I actually laugh. Was it fair when you spent our money on hotel rooms? Used our credit card to buy her jewelry? Lied to me for 2 years? He has no answer. Tennessee is a fault-based divorce state, I continue. Adultery is grounds. Dissipation of marital assets affects property division. Judges don't like when spouses use joint funds to finance affairs. So yes, Marshall, 60-40 is generous. If we go to trial, I'll ask for 70-30, and I'll probably get it. His hands still shake as he flips through pages. I never meant to hurt you. But you did. And the worst part? You were planning to keep hurting me. Let me plan Thanksgiving, host your family, coordinate Christmas, smile through it all while knowing you were leaving. Use me for one more holiday season, then discard me in January. It wasn't like that. It was exactly like that. I read your texts with Rick. After the holidays. Make it nice for her one last time. Like I'm some charity case you need to humor. He looks up, tears in his eyes. I do love you, Vera. I'm not in love with you anymore. Then you should have divorced me 2 years ago, like an adult. Instead, you lied and cheated and spent our money while I kept our life running, while I planned your events and managed your calendar and made sure you looked good. I made you look successful, Marshall, and you thanked me by betraying me. I'm sorry, he whispers. I don't care, and I mean it. I don't care if you're sorry. I care that you face consequences, and you will. He sits there crying. Actual tears while holding papers that will end our 14-year marriage. I feel nothing. No satisfaction, no sympathy. Just cold, clear certainty that I'm doing the right thing. You need to leave, I tell him. Tonight. Pack a bag and go to your apartment. I'm sure Lila will be happy to console you. Vera, please. No, you don't get to please me. You had 2 years, to be honest. You chose to lie. So now you leave. Let your attorney handle everything. And pray I don't change my mind about keeping this quiet. Marshall stands slowly, like he's aged 10 years. What about Christmas? My family. Your family can celebrate with you and Lila. Or you can tell them the truth about why your marriage ended. That's up to you. He walks toward the stairs, then stops. For what it's worth, I really am sorry. You deserved better. You're right. I did. Now go pack. 30 minutes later, Marshall comes downstairs with a suitcase. He pauses at the door, like he wants to say something else. Don't, I tell him. Just go. He goes. The door closes, and I sit in the silence of my house. My house now, really. I wait for emotions to hit. The sadness, the grief, but they don't come. Instead, I feel lighter. My phone buzzes. Victoria Blackwell. Victoria. Process server confirmed delivery. How are you holding up? Me. Better than expected. He left. It's over. Victoria. The beginning of the end. His attorney will be in touch within 48 hours. Get ready for negotiation. Me. I'm ready. The next weeks are a blur of legal meetings. Marshall's attorney, a tired-looking man named Gerald, contacts Victoria on December 21st. They schedule a meeting for December 27th. I spend Christmas alone. Intentionally alone. I order Chinese takeout, watch rom-coms. Don't think about Marshall or Lila or the life I thought I had. The negotiation meeting is surprisingly painless. Marshall doesn't want to fight. His attorney lays out a counteroffer, 55-45 split, and he'll reimburse the $15,000 over 2 years instead of immediately. Victoria looks at me. I nod. Acceptable. But I want it in writing that he admits to the affair and dissipation of assets. No ambiguity? Gerald sighs. Marshall nods miserably. We hammer out details. I keep the house. I'll refinance to buy out his equity. We split retirement accounts according to percentage. Investment accounts get divided. I get the Mercedes, he keeps the Audi. By January 15th, we have a signed settlement. By February 3rd, the divorce is finalized. 14 years of marriage ended with a judge's signature. I walk out of the courthouse that cold February morning as Vera Hawthorne, though I'm already planning to legally change back to Vera Caldwell. Fresh start, clean slate. My phone buzzes with an unknown number. Unknown. I hope you're happy. You destroyed his life. Lila. Probably watching Marshall deal with fallout and deciding I'm the villain. I delete the message without responding. She's not worth my time. 6 months later, I'm in my renovated home office. I turned Marshall's old study into workspace for elegance events. When my phone rings. Vera Caldwell speaking. Ms. Caldwell, this is Jennifer Davis from Nashville Lifestyle Magazine. We're doing a feature on successful female entrepreneurs in Nashville. Your name came up repeatedly. Would you be interested in being interviewed? Absolutely. The interview happens 2 weeks later. Jennifer asks about my business, growth strategy, memorable events. She asks delicately about my recent divorce. It was a learning experience, I tell her honestly. I learned I'm stronger than I thought, that I can handle anything life throws at me, and that sometimes the worst thing that happens turns out to be exactly what you needed. The article runs in September. The headline, Vera Caldwell, Building an Empire, One Event at a Time. There's a photo of me in my office, confident and successful. No mention of being anyone's wife or ex-wife. Just me, my business, my achievements. The article brings 3 new high-profile clients. My calendar fills for 18 months. Elegance Events becomes the most sought-after planning company in Nashville. I hire 2 additional planners to keep up. I run into Marshall once, at a charity event I'm coordinating in October. He's there with Lila, who looks significantly less glamorous than at the airport. Turns out, being with Marshall in reality is different from being the exciting secret girlfriend. Marshall sees me, and his face goes pale. I smile, wave politely, turn back to my conversation with a potential client. I don't have time for my past. I'm too busy building my future. It's been a year since I discovered Marshall's affair at the airport. A year since my world fell apart and I realized I had to rebuild it. And here's what I've learned. Sometimes the trash takes itself out. Sometimes the worst betrayal leads to the best transformation. Sometimes losing what you thought you wanted makes room for what you actually need. I'm not grateful for what Marshall did. I'm not going to pretend his affair was some blessing in disguise. He betrayed me, lied to me, wasted 2 years of my life. But I am grateful for who I became in the aftermath. The woman who documented everything. The woman who planned her revenge with the same precision she brings to weddings and galas. The woman who stood her ground and demanded what she deserved. That woman is someone I'm proud to be. My life now looks different than I imagined a year ago. I live alone in a beautiful house that's entirely mine. I run a thriving business I built from nothing. I have friends, hobbies, freedom. I'm dating, casually, discovering what I actually want in a partner now that I'm not settling. Last week, I planned a divorce party for a client, a celebration of her freedom after leaving a 20-year marriage. Champagne tower, live band, all her friends celebrating her courage to start over. She pulled me aside. You really understand this, don't you? The relief of getting out? I do, because I've been there. Any advice? I thought about everything I learned, about Marshall and Lila and divorce papers, and the moment I decided I wasn't going to be a victim. Yes. Don't wait for permission to demand what you deserve. Don't shrink yourself to make someone else comfortable. And never underestimate your own strength. You're more capable than you think. She hugged me, tears in her eyes. Thank you. Because that's what I do now. I celebrate new beginnings, fresh starts, the courage it takes to walk away and build something better. Marshall thought he was trading up when he chose Lila. He thought he was leaving behind a boring wife for an exciting new relationship. What he actually did was lose the woman who made his life work, who managed his career, planned his events, handled his family, and asked for almost nothing in return. And he'll figure that out eventually. Maybe he already has. But that's not my problem anymore. I have galas to plan, businesses to run, and a life to live. A life that's entirely mine, built exactly how I want it. That airport moment, the moment I saw my husband embrace another woman and my world shattered, turned out to be the moment everything actually began. Not the end of my story, just the end of the chapter where I let someone else write my narrative. Now I'm the author. And this story, it has a very happy ending.